Salams and welcome to Solutions for South Africa. This is an open letter to all South Africans. I've made a list of 27 problems and I'm giving you 27 solutions. We are now presently at solution number 12. Solution number 12 is called the God principle. Okay. What does that mean? You cannot remove God. Whatever your understanding of God is, whoever you believe God is, the fact remains God exists. Whether you're an atheist, doesn't matter if you're an atheist, even if you don't believe in God, one day you're going to meet God. That's a guarantee I'm giving you. And I'm doing a series. I've studied, I've got a degree in evolution and paleoanthropology. So I'm doing a whole series on evolution versus religion. So if you are an atheist or an agnostic, please watch those series about evolution versus religion. So it doesn't matter. God exists. Doesn't matter what your understanding of God is. We need to have God in our life. Go to the mosque regularly. Go to church regularly. Go to the temple regularly. Go to the synagogue regularly. If you're a Buddhist, go to the monastery regularly. So have God as part of your equation. And especially if you're a politician, don't forget God, because one day you're going to stand in front of God. So this principle here, the way we're going to solve the problems for South Africa, to solve the problems for South Africa, we need to become religious people. And in the days of apartheid, what I liked about apartheid, although there were many ills about apartheid, in South Africa in the days of apartheid, when I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, there was no porn on TV. There was no swearing on TV. There was no nudity on TV. Everything, you know why? Because there were pious Christians who were running this country. So if you are a pious Christian, if you are a good Christian, then you and the Muslims are like this. There's very little difference between a good Muslim and a good Christian. So the good Christians were running this country, and they made sure that the information going in our brain, they made sure that porn did not go into our brain. They made sure that nudity did not go in our brain. When we were watching TV, we weren't shy that we were sitting with our parents and we were watching naked people in front of our TV. They made sure that good information got into our brain. They made sure there was no swearing on TV. Today, I'm very worried about our children. With so many TV programs, the more swearing there is, we are filling our brain with garbage. The more porn there is, we are filling our brain with garbage. The more BDSM there is, we are filling our brain with garbage. We are putting our brain into garbage. And I will do a whole program on how we can combat, because porn affects the brain. All the swearing affects the brain. If you put swearing into your brain all the time, watching movies and listen to songs with the swearing, you are filling your brain with swearing words. When you open your mouth, what comes out? Swearing words come out. But if you put beautiful things into your brain, beautiful things come out. So the God principle, please, if we are saying we're a Christian country, let's be good Christians. Don't say we know the 10 commandments. The main thing about the 10 commandments is implement it. Put it into practice. The one commandment is, thou shalt not kill. But we got so much murder in this country, so aren't we Christians? Thou shalt not steal. But we got so much stealing going, aren't we Christians? Thou shalt not covet your neighbor's wife. We must not have promiscuity. Aren't we Christians? Why is there so much sex in this country? Why is there so much premarital sex? Aren't we good Christians in this country? Why do we have so much HIV-AIDS? Why are young children in many of these black rural schools having sex with their teachers instead of studying for the exams? They say, no, I'll have sex with my teacher so then they can pass me. This is not right. This is wrong. We need to make this country a better place. If you say you're a Christian, read your scripture, read the Bible. If you can't read the Bible, then at least follow the 10 commandments. I'm not asking for anything else. If we just follow the 10 commandments in this country, then South Africa, we are winning. We can then win World Cups. We can then be Olympic champions. We can solve the problems of crime and corruption and murder and rape and unplanned pregnancies and HIV-AIDS just by following the 10 commandments of the Bible. Why are we saying we're Christians when we don't even know the Bible? Well, we may know the Bible, but do we have the guts to implement the 10 commandments? Do we have the guts, or is our brain in a cage? That is a question we need to ask. So in this principle, the God principle, you cannot remove God from the equation of love. Whether you are a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, a husband, a wife, a son, a daughter, or a politician, God is part of your life. Do you know who is God? Has someone misguided you about God? Do you have the correct understanding of who God is? Or are you just following God because your parents told you that? Is God just a culture for you? Did you take time for yourself as a human being to ask yourself, what is the truth? Is the religion that you are following, is it the correct religion? Or is it because, no, my parents, my grandparents were doing it? Seek the truth, because one day you're going to stand in front of God. You're an intelligent human being. Don't let people put your brain in a cage. If you are misguided, find the truth. God is part of your life. God is not found only in the church or only in the mosque or only inside the synagogue or only inside the temple. God is everywhere all the time. God is also found inside of parliament. God is also found inside a hospital. I always remind my medical colleagues that when you are inside an operating theater, you must remember that the operating theater is your church. Your operating theater is your mosque. The operating theater is your synagogue. The operating theater is your temple. The operating theater is sacred ground because God is watching and the angels are there because life and death is a minute away. Similarly, parliament and government buildings and boardrooms and all meeting venues are sacred ground because God is also there. The supreme, most merciful creator is there and watching. How are you conducting yourself for the well-being of the voiceless people of this country, the suffering people of this country, the people who are putting their trust in you? Are you having meetings to solve their problems or are you having parties? So ask yourself the question, are you having meetings or are you having parties for the voiceless suffering of this people, the homeless, the jobless and the weak people? Hence, Parliament is sacred ground. Please stop making a mockery of Parliament. It is sacred ground. You must hang your head in shame that you are getting a salary every month, but have you solved the problems of this country? What are you doing with your salary? Shame on you if you haven't solved the problems of this country. 30 years. We haven't solved the problems of this country. Shame on all of us as citizens and shame on the 400 members of National Assembly. It doesn't matter if you are ANC or DA or EFF or COPA or whichever party you are following or the Freedom Front or whoever it is. If you are a member of Parliament and after 30 years, if you haven't ask yourself the question, have you written a letter to government to tell the government, this is a problem, I've solved the problem of load shedding in this country? Or I've solved the problem of tar roads. I've invented a new type of concrete that it can solve the problems of tar roads forever. And the whole world can come running to us. I've solved the problem of water efficiency. As what I said, we must develop the GSAD, the Grand Southern African Renaissance Dam between Zimbabwe, Zambia and South Africa. 40 gigawatts of power. We can light up the Southern African continent. But are we going to build that dam? Let's get China and Saudi Arabia to fund it and let's build a dam. Let's solve the problems. So I'm asking you, in what way, how are you conducting yourself in Parliament? Are you conducting yourself as a child in kindergarten school fighting with one another? Or is it sacred ground? Are you going to jump up and down in a mosque or in a temple or in a church? No, you must walk in Parliament with your head down. God is watching. God is watching you in Parliament. It is sacred ground. It is holy ground. Don't perform like jumping, what do you call them? Jumping jacks. Nee man, dis nie reg nie man. Ons moet reg kry van South Africa. We got the best constitution in the world, but do we have the best people in the world? Do we have the best parliamentarians? We call one another honorable member of parliament. But I am sorry, many of you act in a very dishonorable way. I think you don't even respect the Speaker of the House. I think the Speaker of the House must stop calling the people honorable member. You must say dishonorable member. Please say that the way it is. Don't cover him up. If someone is acting dishonorably, say, dishonorable member, please keep quiet. Don't keep on saying honorable member. Why are you patting him on the back? For what? If a person is acting dishonorably, tell him to his face that you are acting dishonorably. And please respect the Speaker of the House. The Speaker of the House is the chairman. Honor the seat of the chairman. Please. The chairman only has to say once. The Speaker only has to say once. Member, honorable member, you are out of order. That person must have shame and must sit down. Don't keep on arguing. We don't want to hear your voice. We are tired of hearing your voices. Please. Whether you can be ANC, DA, whoever it is, we are tired of hearing your voices. Have respect for the parliament. Have respect for rules and regulations of parliament. Please. And remember, God is watching you. You are in the presence of God in parliament. God has put you in this place and you are directly answerable to Him. Are you going to be 3 H's? Are you going to be hardworking, humble, and honest in front of God? Ask yourself that question. So every parliamentarian must be honest, hardworking, and humble. Don't be arrogant. Don't be arrogant. God is going to put you down to your knees, so never be arrogant. It is an absolute guarantee that every human being, irrespective of race, religion, gender, status, wealth, position, nationality, will stand in front of the Supreme Creator, the most merciful Supreme Creator, God Almighty, on the day of judgment to give an account of the life on earth without a lawyer, without self, without anybody, you alone in front of God. And in the words of Jalaluddin Rumi, that Sufi sage, he says, prayer clears the mist and brings back peace to the soul. And another quotation by Jalaluddin Rumi, the Sufi poet and wise sage of the ages, when the world pushes you down to your knees, you are in the best position to pray to God, the most merciful, supreme creator. Help me grow my channel. Stay strong, stay well, break the chain around your brain. Let's make South Africa a lekker place.